Hi guys, what's up and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dede Tamno Nengilfrey, aka Next Stage. If you're new here, hi. Please do well to hit on the subscribe button and become a member of this amazing family. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Please, thank you so much for coming back. So, guys, on today's video, I'll be talking about something I hold so dearly in my nursing career. So, one of the main aims I opened my YouTube channel is to share, and I share so that I can make sure in my own little way that my younger ones know make some mistakes I made while going through school. So today I'll be talking about 5 things I think every nursing student should know to succeed in their career or their journey through school. In all essence, I think all students should know this, but let me just streamline it to nursing since my channel is mostly based on nursing. The first thing I would like to mention is systems. Under systems, I'd like to talk about three important things: study groups, friendship, and starting the work from the beginning. So let's start with study groups. Study groups. So I don't want to count how many times I have been nonchalant to read, and then my study group partner will just come and tell me, "How far now? Let's go and read." And still, I'll not even stand up from my bed. But there was one particular girl that would literally come and drag me from my bed and be like, "Are you okay? Don't you know you have exam in how many days time?" It, that thing happens to me when I want to write my professional exams. For semester exams, I know most nursing students relate to this, but for semester exams, you're already given a scheme to read. For example, if they are going to set, they are not going to set completely outside the scheme, even if they want to go outside the scheme, because those people, they are really not so friendly. But then, even if they want to go outside the scheme, it will not really be outside. You get what I'm saying? But then for professional exams, you have to read far and wide. You don't even know where the question will come from. So mostly when I want to write my professional exam, just like you go even read safe this thing you go read, you go come out. So I'm very, very nonchalant towards reading for my professional exam. But one thing that helped me during that period was my study group. So when they come like that and they don't even let me sleep, just imagine you want to sleep and someone is troubling your life. Obviously, you want to follow the person. So and when I end up going, it's very interactive. For example, if you are going to ask 10 questions, 100 questions rather, that particular night, we share the questions among the five of us. Okay, you take 20, you take 20. When you throw the 20 questions out, the rest of the four of us will answer, will give our opinion about the questions. And that way you get to have an idea on how other people too will like to answer will answer similar questions. For example, if they ask me what is hand, and I would just want to say hand is a part of the body, and another person will not answer the question as hand is part of the skeletal framework. It contains the arm, it contains the forearm, and then the basically the only thing that is even called hand is where the fingers are. So when you see that this thing I was thinking I would have answered is kind of very, very basic. And obviously, if you are a nursing student, you know that nursing lecturers, they like to see details. So in that way you actually have more things to write down. I don't know if you get me. I hope you get. The next thing I would like to talk about under systems is friendships. I cannot even overemphasize the role of friends in your course of life, safe as a whole. Then your course of journey through school. It's very important that you have friends that see things the way you see things. Even if you guys are not on the same page, at least you guys should be reading the same book. I mean, if you're on page 30 and the person is on page 27, it won't be so hard when you guys are talking about some things. But then if you guys are not reading the same book at all, that one is Otilo's story. But then I had a friend. I remember when we were almost graduating, we two of us we had similar goals in mind, and because we had very similar goals, we will literally do extra things even when we feel like oh this could not tire us. So when we remind ourselves of see we have this goal in mind, it just makes us do the extra thing. And it was there just because she was my friend and we had a common vision, a common goal. I hope you get. So I don't want to base so much on this point, but what I'm trying to say is when you, especially if you're starting your journey, if you're in year one, 100 level, 200 level, actually it's never too late. Even in your 500 level, your 400 level, you can still try to make better friends. But then it is more relevant, more important, more beneficial to start from the beginning to make these good friends, because at the end of the day, you need to put in the work from the beginning, throughout the school, and even during the end of your journey in school. Which brings me to my last point under systems. The last thing I would like to talk about is starting the work at the beginning. So it's not enough to just start the work at the beginning. It's also relevant and important that you put in the work throughout the journey, even towards the end of the journey. Let me share my story. So in 100 level, I was going to, I wanted to switch from nursing to medicine because that was the goal. That was the plan. That was one of the reasons why I even agreed to study nursing, because they had told me that in my 200 level I could switch to medicine, and I was like, okay, since it was on a scholarship too, why not? Let me just go and make everybody happy. I mean, they were on my neck. So when I was in 100 level, I had put in all essence, I don't put in so much work, but I had put in the work. So as at my 100 level second semester, I was on a CGPA of 4.7, which is first class. But then, when I got into 200 level and a lot of things made me, I was not able to switch over to medicine again. I began to lose focus. In fact, I was just like, I beg, is it even necessary I should be in this school again? So I began to lose focus from 200 level. My 200 level semester, at the end of 200 level, when I saw my CGPA, I almost wept. In fact, I not almost wept. Okay, I almost wept because I did not have a carryover. That was one thing I was grateful for, but I almost wept. Then my 300 level too, I was still playing around. It was 400 level second, okay, so 400 level first semester, I tried to kind of start balancing myself. I'm like, I actually need to boost up my CGPA. And then 400 level second semester, I started putting more work. By 400 level first semester, I'd already built up my CGPA to like 4.5 mark. And I was happy. I was like, oh, maybe I could actually graduate to the first class if I put in the work in second semester 500 level. Well, guys, I shall not graduate to the first class, sha. But then that's all good. I know that most of my problems started from when I started losing focus in 200 and 300 level. What am I trying to say? It's not enough to just start good. It's also paramount that you put in the work 100 level, 200 level, 300 level, 400 level, 500 level, 600 level as your course of study requires. So that at the end of the day, you can just look back and say, oh, my effort did pay off. Because I actually have a cousinmate that I saw her, she put in so much effort, especially in 500 level. And I was so happy that she graduated the first class, because I mean, every single person in that school as a whole saw the effort she puts in. So I was really happy that her effort paid off. Let's move over to the next point. Next point is avoid comparison. Avoid comparison. Someone once said comparison kills joy, and to be honest, that is it. Like, there's no further way to even sugarcoat it. Comparison kills joy. I love to share stories. So let me share another story. When I was in 300 level, I had this roommate that she would literally not, let me not say not read. Like, her reading style is very weird. She could be watching a movie and be reading at the same time. And then if you ask her anything, she will tell you. Anything at all, she will tell you. I began to feel bad though, because I literally read throughout the night, read days before the CA or exam, and there are some things I will not still be able to grasp. But then you will literally see her watching movies. She will watch movies, be smiling, be googling on her bed. But then just ask her one question, she will give you details. She will even go extra from even what you even know the answer to be. Ah, I'm not like, I began to feel bad. I began to like compare myself to, I'm like, what am I doing that she's not doing, those type of things. Anyway, I'm so happy I did not dwell so much on it, because it would have affected me. I just brushed off the thought. I'm like, the most important thing is that I'm doing better than I used to do before. Am I reading? Am I putting in the work? That should be enough. And if for any reason you actually want to feel, I don't want to use the word bad, if for any reason you want to even consider that thought, At least it should be for a better purpose. It should motivate you. For example, you're seeing that this particular person is getting 90, 90 something, and you're getting 50s, 60s. It should motivate you to tell you that, okay, if I actually put in more work, just probably I may even get up to that 90, or I may get 80s. And there's another thing we should know, in the course of the journey of life, people are gifted. Let me even narrow it down to school. People are gifted. For example, this particular girl I'm telling you, she doesn't, she, all she has to do is brush through the slides, brush through the book, and she grabs things with a twinkle of an eye. So that type of person now, you just imagine someone that has to put in the work, read very well before the person is able to grab something. Now comparing the person's self to this other person that she doesn't need to even do so much to even grab anything. You go just die. You go fall and die one day. So what am I trying to say? Try to avoid comparison. If for anything, if for any reason you want to feel like, this person is doing better than me, it should motivate you instead to be a better version of yourself. The next thing I would love to talk about is avoid bad energy, guys. You see this thing, you see this senior, this superior thing, like the senior coming to advise the junior. It happened in my school very well, and I'm so happy that I did not even base my assumption on whatever my seniors told me. Because when I was in year one, we were just two sets in our school, the pioneer set and us. So I remember someone coming to my friend's room. I was in my friend's room that particular day. She came and was like, um anatomy is very hard. In fact, when we enter the cadaver room for practicals, that will not be able to eat meat again, will not be able to do all manner of nonsense. Sha. But guys, anatomy was a sweet cause for me too, in all honesty. You see, gross anatomy that people used to complain about, that gross anatomy did this one. Gross anatomy was my sweetest cause. See embryology, apart from when we started learning systemic embryology. You see all those embryology that had to do with fertilization, ovulation, just those basic part of embryology. I loved it so much. The part where they will talk about how the embryo broke out to form the fetus, to form the morula, all those things. I loved it so much. And you see gross anatomy, the part that had to do with the body, the hand, the leg. Guys, I love that part of gross anatomy so much. What am I trying to say? Don't base your judgment of a course based on someone else's experience. Experience it for yourself. I'm not saying you should not have a clue of how to react to that course. For example, if I'm going to advise any of my younger colleagues, what I tell them is that, for example, they say medical surgical nursing is the hardest branch of nursing, which I don't think is true. But then, if I was going to have advise anybody concerning medical surgical nursing, what I'll tell the person is, it's a broad thing. It's a broad thing, and if for any reason you're in an examination hall and you see a question that you did not read for, do not leave it blank. Anything that comes to your head concerning that question that you may feel is correct, put it down. But the thing you should do is that try to write the actual facts first, the ones that you're sure that this thing is it. Write it first. Then the other ones that you're not so sure may be correct, just write it last. But just make sure that you write something bulky, because the truth of the matter is that those lecturers, they like to read, but they don't like to read nonsense. Sha. That's why I'm saying you should start from the ones that you're actually sure that are facts. If not, the lecturers, they like to read though. The only problem they have is when you start writing nonsense from the beginning. They don't like to read nonsense, but they like to read plenty things. That's why me, I like to write my stories. I like to write examples. Example, if Mr. A has this one, by the time you finish reading my example, you go forget say I no even really know wetin I dey write. So yeah, that's one of the basic thing that helped me through medical surgical nursing. And yeah, I don't know, I should just mention it here. So when I actually studied medical surgical nursing, I used to get B, C, but then the very last semester I offered medical surgical nursing. To my greatest surprise, I got an A, and yeah, so it means you can also get an A. The next thing I'd like to talk about is, I'm looking down because I have it written. I have my points written down. It takes beyond not reading to fail an exam. Guys, I don't want to count how many times I have read all through the night, some days to the exam, and then every single thing I read for that particular exam is like the ones that I say, this one will not come out now. I beg, this one will not come out. I should never emphasize on this one. It's those ones I will see in the examination hall. In fact, it's those ones that they will not even write in brackets. Compulsory, you must answer it. But then the good part of it is that most of the times I'll just write what I think is correct or whatever the Holy Spirit tells me to write. And then, to my greatest surprise, I get an A in that course. What am I trying to say? It goes beyond not reading to fail an exam. When I hear people saying she failed the exam because she did not read, maybe it may be true, but then in the grand scheme of things, it takes just not reading to fail an exam. It takes understanding the question. First off, it takes reading the place that has already been set for the question for the exam, reading the part that has already been set for the exam. Then when you now enter the exam hall, it takes understanding the question. It now takes writing what the lecturer wants to see. Sometimes they may give you that thing, oh, but that's not what they want to see in that your paper that you're writing. They may give it to you, but that's not what they want to see. So it takes writing what they want to see. That's why me, if I finish writing the exam, my prayer point has changed. My prayer point is whatever I wrote in that paper may it be what the lecturer wants to see. Maybe what the lecturer wants to see, because in the grand scheme of things, I've actually seen that at the end of the day, it takes a lot to pass an exam, not just reading your book. So what I advise people, in as much as you're reading, pray for direction in your reading, and also pray like you've not read and read like you've not prayed. I know that's a cliche statement, but I think it's very vital in your course of study. Okay, so the fifth point I'd like to mention is ask questions. Guys, I am a questionnaire. People literally get tired of my questions because I will ask you and ask you and ask you until I understand that thing you're saying. In fact, right now I work in the hospital. Anytime I knock at the door and the doctor just sees me, doctor will tell me, Nengi, how many questions do you have for me today? Because I literally ask questions and I love it for myself, because I mean, how do you learn if you don't ask questions? What am I trying to say? If you don't understand anything and you know this your classmate that understands it, that have a better view of it, please do well to ask questions, do well to ask them for further explanation. Because you see that my roommate I told you about, she suffered in my hand oh. I'll be reading it, I'll say, favor, sorry, please can you give me a minute? I will ask her. And the good thing is that she answers my questions very well. And those things that she answers are the things that are even in my mind rather than even what I even read. I don't know if it's just me, but if I ask question and someone answers the question, I tend to even grasp whatever the person said better than what I read. I mean, maybe my sense of hearing is better than my sense of sight. I don't even know if that makes sense. But then I hope you get what I'm trying to say. So yeah, we've come to the end of this video. I hope you're able to get one or two lessons, one or two points from the video. I hope that you apply what I've said, because I know if you